Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, this is another episode of Coffee and Contemplation. I'm your host, Old Heart. There it is. And, I know this is not the most favorable program with some people, but if you are listening, shout outs to you and thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about something heavy today. So, might as well get this witty banter out of the way right off the bat. Kalu Kalay, it's a wonderful day and all that shit. But is it really? That's something I have to ask. Well, if you're listening to this podcast, it's probably a lot more wonderful of a day than it has been for roughly 29 other people. And that is because today we are talking about mass shootings in the United States. Thank you. Weird thing to clap about, I know. But we are talking about mass shootings in the United States because in the last 2 days, we have as a country experienced 2 mass shootings, one in El Paso, Texas, and one in Dayton, Ohio. And you know what? There should never be an excuse for 29 people that have their lives just snubbed out. Just like that. For no reason. For somebody else's selfish act. And that is something that we in this country, we in the United States, deal with on a regular basis. And we don't see anything get done about it. Ever. It's something that gets called for every single time there's a shooting. There is, whether we're talking about school shootings, whether we're talking about generically classified mass shootings, or whether we're just talking about gun violence in general. All right. We as a country have done nothing to stem it. We as a nation have let people sit in power and continue to let our citizens, our children, our fellow human beings be put in graver danger because we refuse to stand up for ourselves. I had a buddy of mine earlier today told me, and I didn't follow up on this, but he told me that after, basically one occurrence of gun violence in Australia, the politicians stood up and made a change in terms of how they regulate their, gun control down there. And, it was not a popular idea, and a lot of politicians lost their jobs because it was a conservative environment. But they did what they had to stop people getting fucking killed, to stop people being shot down for no reason other than back to school shopping at Walmart. That's one of the things that breaks my fucking heart the most about that El Paso story, is that there are victims that range from as youngest 4 months old. Can you think about that? 4 months, a brand new human being, and they get inundated to this life with violence. It is not something to laugh at. I don't have control over the live studio audience though, so that's kind of that. But like I said, it's a prevailing problem. I just wanted to, take a look at it. What do we always do on this show? We try to ripen up our coconut as best we can. So I just wanted to look up some information about mass shootings, and I found that there is not actually a set definition for a mass shooting. There's several. So let's see. The Investigative Assistance for Violent Crimes Act of 2012, signed into law by Congress, defines a mass killing as resulting in at least 3 victims, excluding the perpetrator. In 2005, the Congressional Research Service defined a mass shooting as a multiple homicide incident in which 4 or more victims are murdered with firearms within one event and in one or more locations in close proximity. A broader definition by the Gun Violence Archive says 4 or more shot or killed, not including the shooter. So basically 3 to 4 people that are shot dead, not including the person that is shooting, aka the shooter, dictates what we call a mass shooting. So that, if you keep that in mind, then you can keep in mind that the talking points where people argue that gun violence is down in this country are not arguing the same statistics. So if you go onto a news source and you hear them talking about how gun violence, gun homicides are down in this country thanks to, whoever, the great fucking ape Trump or whatever the fuck they want to attribute it to, that may be the case. Single person-to-person homicides may be down. But mass killings, mass shootings are up, man. Like, let's look at some of these numbers. So, let's see. Oh shit, shoutouts. Shoutouts to Evil L, shoutouts to Moonersick, shoutouts to Casserole, shoutouts to Harrison Hannon, shoutouts to Monkflower Band, shoutouts to, well, anybody listening out there. If you're listening, keep up the good work. You're doing a good thing. You're ripening up your coconut. And also, shoutouts to you for being alive. All right. But so a USA Today report tracked all mass killings from 2006 through 2017, and that was where 4 or more people were dead or killed. And in that instance, from 2006 to 2017, the USA Today found 271 incidents with a total of 1,358 victims. Can you imagine that? 2006 to 2017, not even 10 years. 271 separate mass shootings. Mass shootings, man. What the fuck? Let's see. And again, because the definition is so loose, I feel like people almost take advantage of this. The Mother Jones listed 7 mass shootings, describing them as indiscriminate rampages in public places, also resulting in 4 or more people killed in the U.S. in 2015. Let's see. Between January 2009 and July 2014, at least 57% of mass shootings were related to domestic or family violence. And those are statistics from every town for gun safety, which identified 110 mass shootings in between January 2009 and July 2014. It dumbfounds me. It absolutely dumbfounds me. You combine, and this is the thing, this is what they try to do to people. They try to separate these issues. They try to separate school shooting issues from mass shooting issues. And to me, in my fucking head, those are not issues you need to separate. Just because of the location and the victim are different, do not mean you need to separate them. Motive, maybe. But, exactly. But, they are gun violence. They are threats to human life. And they need to be treated as such. They need to not just be washed under the fucking rug. Because I don't want to walk in to a grocery store one day and just have to be paranoid about being shot. Do you remember the feeling people had after the gun shooting at the Dark Knight, during the Dark Knight? It was insane. All right, I felt paranoid living and just going to the movies. It was not comfortable, and that's the feeling that we are slowly surrounding ourselves with because kids are going to grow up to be scared to go anywhere due to outside violence. And you know what kills me? As and I'm going to say this, a very pale white man, is that I look and I see these reports and I see who is responsible for most of these mass shootings and most of these school shootings. And they are white men, just like me. Does that make sense? If you're a white man, you should also be scared. Because I'm not saying you should be scared more than others. I'm just saying you should be scared. Because eventually, if that's the trend, what future are we going to have for ourselves or for boys that get raised in this environment? They're going to be raising kids to always fear white men. And that's not all right, man. Like, it's just not. All right? People already feel... Like, you know... I live in a very liberal area. I live in Olympia, Washington. All right? And I have to defend myself as a white man regularly to people. And I don't mind doing that because that's how everybody else must feel. But I don't want anybody to feel that way, and I don't want people to grow up. I don't want people to look at me just because of the color of my skin and think that I'm gonna fucking shoot them, that I'm a domestic terrorist. But reality is, the statistics cannot be argued on this one. The majority of perpetrators are white males who act alone. So fuck them. You know what I mean? Fuck the cowards that go and shoot groups of people for no reason, man. And that's all they are. They're fucking cowards. You know what? Now that I'm touching on this, I just want to touch on this. So like I said, I live in Olympia, Washington. And it's one of those things that dawned on me today. It hits me every now and then. And I love where I live, but it strikes me how much of a bubble this area is, this liberal bubble that we live in here, where nobody wants... Like, I had one person today. I work in a public place where I see people all day. I interact with people all day. I had one person in this little fucking bubble that I live in bring up the 2 mass shootings that happened in the last day or two. I only had one person bring that up because everybody else was just not on their radar. They just didn't think about it. They were too worried about other fucking things. And you know what? Like, it makes me sick to my stomach. It makes me sick to my stomach that people feel so safe up here that they refuse to get angry about the shit that's happening to people in other parts of this fucking country, in other parts of this fucking world, man. Get your head out of your fucking bubble and start protecting people. Start speaking up for people. Start fighting this wave of gun violence with whatever the fuck we can, man. I don't want to see kids dead in the streets. I don't want to hear about back-to-school shoppers being fucking murdered anymore. It's angering. It's sickening. And statistically speaking, it's happening way more often in our lifetime than it has ever happened in the history of the fucking world. And we need to stop it now. I don't have the solutions, but I just know we need to do something rather than sitting with our thumbs up our asses. So go out there, use your brain for good. If you're alive today, ripen up your coconut and keep your stick on the ice.